Hello, and welcome to the Author Roundup, a special segment of the Book Connection Show where we meet up and coming indie authors and talk to them about their recently released books. Hello, my name is Jenny, and I will be your host for today's episode of the Author Roundup. Join me as I chat with another indie author about his recently published book. He was a B grade nurse and a former advanced medical technician. He was also a qualified first aid instructor. And now he's published another book titled Dan Dan the Ambulance Man Goes to the Football Match. Let's all welcome Paul Eaton. Hello, Paul. I'm so glad that you
Well,
can join us today.
okay, hi, Jenny.
So, before I go ahead and ask you about your book, aside
Yeah,
from your professional background, can you please tell us more about yourself?
yes, I'm 56 years of age. I live in the Solihull in the West Midlands in the United Kingdom. I know you've mentioned the one book, The Football Match, but I've published three other books as well,
Mm,
which are for sale on Amazon, Barnes Noble, and also the Zebras bookstore.
I see. So, you mentioned that your recently published book is called Dan Dan the Ambulance Man Goes to the Football Match. And I
Yes,
understand this is part of a series. Can you tell us more
yes.
about this book?
Yeah, well, let me explain why I wanted to do the book first. A few years ago, quite a few years ago, I was a B grade nurse and a advanced emergency medical technician, which is the same grade as a paramedic.
Mhm,
And I've dealt with the books based on for children aged between 5 and 10,
mhm,
because the reason why I've aimed for that age group is when I've gone to deal with children of that age, if they're injured or ill, they get very, very scared. Paramedics and nurses, and I wanted to write some books on the life of an emergency medical technician, advanced emergency medical technician, um, to prove or to show children of that age that paramedics are there to help them, not
mhm.
to do any harm.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Like you've said, most kids would be scared of, the
Yeah,
ambulance.
strangers walking in the house or in with carrying loads of equipment and everything. So that's why I wrote my books.
Is there any particular event, or perhaps is there someone who inspired you to write this book?
I'm medically retired, disabled, and I run my own first aid training company in England about 5 years ago now, four or
Mhm,
5 years ago, and I was going to do the books then, coincide it with my business at the time, but I didn't have the finances to do it, and then last year. Fortunately, my mum passed away and she left me some money as an inheritance, and it was enough to do the books. So I wanted something to do because I was fed up of being stuck at home, doing nothing without doing something. So that's why. And I thought, well, I've got the money now, so I'll do it now and see what happens.
that's very nice. Like you've said, it's better to do something productive with your spare time rather than,
Yes,
just
and I've wrote
doing
about
things.
something that I know as well,
How
which I
long did
think
it take? Yes, how long did it write your book?
I started round about November last year when I first contacted the Zebras,
Mhm,
and then it took from then till about February March time to get the books done. So
mhm.
it hasn't took that long. at all.
Okay. Maybe because you already have, the characters in mind. Is that it? Because you
Yes,
said
I had the characters in mind, and it's all, as I say, the medical technicians in there. In
mm-hmm,
some of my other books as well, as Lucy, as you mentioned earlier, Jenny, Lucy Bandage.
mm-hmm,
She was the first aid. She's the first aider in that book.
mm-hmm.
Meeting the Dan the ambulance man. So I had the characters in mind, so that was easy. And I've done some market research as well, and I researched on the internet the children's writers
Mm,
or other children's authors to
mm-hmm.
see if anybody has written about what I've written about,
Okay.
and I couldn't seem to find any. And the publishing consultant that was dealing with that started to deal with me, Homer, he looked as well, and he said he couldn't find anybody that wrote about what I've been writing about.
Okay. Back to the story or the characters.
Yeah,
Is Dan the ambulance man inspired by anyone, or are his experiences, derived from your experiences when you were a nurse or when you were
they're
a
the same. I based it on Dan the ambulance man. I've
Mhm.
based it on myself
Oh,
and
okay.
my experiences out on the road. So, and also in one of the books as well, there's a little bit about a nurse, and that nurse was based on me. So
Oh, okay.
I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but it's all based round about me and my knowledge
And perhaps your experiences during
and
your
my experiences as well. Yes,
oh,
Jenna, because I was a nurse for 5 years on on an emergency accident and emergency department. So I've seen everything and everything. And then I decided I wanted a career break. So a friend of mine said, "Well, they're recruiting for ambulance advanced emergency medical technicians.
mhm.
Um, with your knowledge, you'll be really good." And I thought, well, should I take the plunge or shan't I? And I thought, why not? And I went for the interview and I passed the interview, and it all materialised from there. And I was an emergency medical technician, advanced emergency medical technician for about 3 and 4 years. And then I got medically retired because I got injured on at work,
Mhm.
and I couldn't drive the ambulances anymore. So I got medically retired. I was also in the British Red Cross Society. I'm sure you've heard of the Red Cross, the British Red Cross Society. And I was there 22 years experience with them teaching first aid. That's where I first learned
Mhm.
my first aid knowledge, my medical knowledge, and how to become a first aid and first aid instructor. So that's helped writing the books as well, because I used to go and provide medical cover at football matches, sporting events, you name it, I've done it.
Okay. So I understand. So you're very credible when it comes to the information that you impart in the book. But as an author, let's talk about your journey as an
Yeah.
author. Tell us about what was your experience as an author? What was difficult about writing a book and what's fun about writing a book?
Well, I'm passionate about my medical knowledge.
Mm.
So so when I was doing the books, I found it enjoyable writing about what I know. I think the hardest thing about me being an author is I've never done it before. And when I
Mhm.
did the first book, when I wrote the first book, Dan the Ambulance Man Meets Percy Bun the Baker, I didn't know how it was going to do. And Zebra and I remember I was talking to my publishing consultant, and I says I haven't got an idea where to start. how to do a manuscript or
Mm-hmm.
anything like. And they sent me a publishing guide which covered the topics that I wanted to know about, and then they helped me throughout the whole process. So
Mm-hmm.
from start to finish, I found it very interesting, and hopefully the books are going to sell.
And no, that's the fun part. How about the
That's the
difficult
fun.
part? What's difficult about the writing journey or your journey as an author?
I think the difficulty is I had a few people, a few friends of mine say, are you?" When I've told them what I was doing, "Are you mad? Are you mad doing this at your age?" Hey, I'm only 56. I've still got years left in me
Right.
yet.
Mhm. Yes. Would you say that it has always been your dream to become an author?
Yes, yes. Because when I was in the Red Cross, one of my best friends was an author. He was a nurse as well, and he was writing some books on nursing, on nurse training, and he had them published, and they sold very well. I thought, hey, I wouldn't mind if the chance ever arises. I wouldn't mind doing that. I think it's really important that you need to know your subject matter
Right.
before you start writing a book. And as I say, his name was Alan. Alan really inspired me.
So your book's been out for a couple of months now.
Yes, since March 26th.
I see. So what was the nicest feedback or review you've received so far about your book?
Yeah, my wife, she volunteers in a school in the
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten class, and she took when I had the first book printed,
Mm-hmm.
she took it into the class
Mm-hmm.
and she read it, and the class teacher, allowed her to read it to the class.
Mm-hmm.
And the feedback that I had off the kids, it was fantastic. My wife said they really enjoyed it. They're saying that how good an author I am. They really enjoyed the storyline, the subject, the storyline, the subject matter. Even the class teacher said how good it was, and that's the nicest thing I've ever had from feedback.
So that must be really heartwarming for you upon knowing that the
Yes,
kids loved it.
yeah, the kids loved it. The kids
Mhm.
loved it, and I am going to try and get the books into schools, into kindergarten schools. It starts in September because they're
Mhm.
just about to break up for the summer holidays. So in September, I'm going to start contacting the schools and
Mhm.
showing. I've got my own website as well, which
Mhm.
is Zebra's done, which is www.redstarbooks.com, all lowercase. And on
Mhm.
there is all the books. The books are on there. There's a page about me, with my experience and everything, and you can order, leave comments, or order on the website. If someone goes on the website and thought, "Oh, that'll be nice to read to my child," they can. There's an actual order form that they can fill in, and that you can get it printed and sent to them.
Yes, right. That's a good idea. Now that you've written 4 books already, so well, you can call yourself, you're very well versed in writing books already since you already
Yes.
have 4 published books. What would be your advice to someone who's just starting to write or is in the process of writing his or her first book?
Know your subject matter, and also research. Do your research to see if
Mhm.
there is going to be a market for the book, and that's it really. And don't be afraid to give it a go.
What is your advice to those who would have, problems with writing itself, like finding the momentum to write or finish the book?
I'd say, yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Mate, if that was me, if I had trouble writing my book, know that I could ring up Ex Libris and speak to my publishing consultant, because everybody who writes a book and publishes it, they have their own allocated publishing consultant, and they can help with ideas and how to put things.
So they can keep you motivated as
Yeah,
well to
that can keep you. That can keep you motivated. Yes, yes, that can keep you motivated.
That's nice. What are your professional goals or personal goals for this year?
My goals are to get them into schools to teach the children about advanced emergency medical technicians and their job that they do, and hopefully inspire them to take it up as a career when they finally leave school.
All right. And like you said, change how they would look at nurses, medical
Yeah,
practitioners.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, look at
And
any medical profession. Well, you
mm,
got medical practitioners, you got nurses, advanced medical technicians. The list is endless.
will there be more books that we can wait for
There's
to
going to
be
be
published?
in the pipeline at the moment, Jenny. There's one more book to do, which I'm going to do over the next few months, and then I'm going to say I'm thinking about maybe if these books sell and they sell well, maybe
Mhm.
writing some more, but I haven't made that decision yet.
So we're looking forward to that book
Yeah,
in the
yes,
pipeline, like you said. So can you invite our viewers and our listeners, your readers as well, to check out your social media accounts and your website? You mentioned it earlier. Can
yes,
you invite them again?
yes. My website address is www.redbooks.com, all lowercase. I haven't set myself because my website has only just come up, so I'm still in the proceeds of setting up my social media. But
Mhm.
on LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, and then in the next week or so, or over the next few days, I'm going to be setting up my Facebook account and me Instagram because I'm aiming because I've sort of my books been shown in the international book fair
Mhm. Yeah.
around the world, and aiming to go that there. One of the book fairs is in October in Germany, in
Mhm.
Frankfurt, and that's not too bad to get to. So I'm hoping, touch wood, that I will go, and then hopefully take loads of pictures and that I can download to my website, and also videos. Like I'm hoping to get this interview on my website as well, so anybody can go on my website and have a look. But I'm aiming to do. Someone said to me the other day, "Why don't you do a YouTube video, with you actually reading one of your books?"
Mhm. That's a good idea.
So I think coming round to the idea of doing that and downloading it onto my website when my website is finally up and running.
I see. And all information about the 4 books that you have published will be in the website.
Yes,
Yeah. And then once you've set up your social media accounts, the information will be in the website as well.
the web information will be on the website as well. Yes,
Mhm. Okay, so make sure to all our viewers and listeners that you check out Paul's website. You'll find all information about the book there. Do you have a final message for our viewers and listeners, Paul?
but I'm just hoping that they'd follow me on social media or go on my website and hopefully enjoy what they read.
Okay, thank you so much, Paul, for this very wonderful conversation. And to all our viewers and listeners, again, make sure you get a copy of Paul Eaton's book. It's called Dan Dan the Ambulance Man Goes to the Football Match. and all the other books that he's published. It's available in Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, as well as Ex Libris online bookstore. And you can get it in paperback, hardcover, or ebook for those who prefer the digital copy. So thanks again, Paul. To all of you who joined us, thank you so much for being part of this conversation with Paul, and looking forward to your other books, Paul.